and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard.
So I hate to say this, but Trump is blowing it. Right now, the world is uniting and against the United States because, as I've warned people, you don't want to weaponize the dollar, meaning you don't want to keep putting sanctions on countries because the United States dollar is the reserve currency of the world. And so that allows us to do things like sanctions. And people are now revolting against it. And there's a thing called BRICS, right? So that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and like 20 or 30 other countries are coming together. They're going to try and find ways to push back against the United States over trade and our dollar being the reserve currency, and it's happening. So they kept saying, we're going to isolate Putin. We're going to isolate Putin. That's what Joe Biden said. We're going to isolate Putin. That's what well, smiles and clasped hands as Xi, Putin, and Modi try to signal unity. Their display of friendship in China was aimed at projecting an alternative to United States global leadership, even as serious differences among them remain. Is there anything for this? Okay, hang on. And no, this is not the lineup for presidential candidates for the upcoming 2028 election. This is a coalition of nations who don't give a F about United States exceptionalism. That's what this is. Arnaud, our friend Arnaud Bertrand, I hope I'm saying that right. He says, remember earlier this year, all the talk about Trump trying to pull a reverse Kissinger to split Russia and China? Well, things are turning out a bit differently, aren't they? Yes, they are. So I like this guy tweets out, isolated Russia. So there's Putin right in the middle. And there's all these countries coming together. There's all the countries coming together. You know who's not there? Trump. Trump's not there. Look who is there. China's there. India's there. Russia's there. Here's what Richard said. The Western establishment and its obedient media keep spewing the same tired propaganda. Evil Putin, isolated and shunned, the great global pariah. But then you see Xi Jinping, Putin, and Kim Jong-un standing shoulder to shoulder at China's V-Day parade, and the mask slips. What you've been fed isn't truth. It's a scripted lie, fabricated to keep you misled, compliant, and swallowing their manipulative garbage without question. You want to see them? Here.
Resistance against Japanese aggression.
You can turn it down.
As well.
So there they are. Look at that. Oh, look at all. They're all hanging out. Everybody's having fun. Kim Jong-un, there's his flat top. There's his flat top or flat top. There they are. Look at all these countries coming together. 3 giant countries: India, China, Russia, and of course Kim Jong-un, because he's got a nuke. So that's what makes him special. And if you want to join, so I mean, that's a huge crowd. And if you want to join the huge crowd giving me a standing ovation for my hilarious new comedy material, be sure to come down to Appleton, Wisconsin, Chicago, Rosemont, Illinois, Fort Wayne, Louisville, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So, General Mike Flynn. Now, you remember General Mike Flynn. He knows where all the bodies were buried, which is why the FBI entrapped him. In the first days of Trump's first administration, they trapped him. He says this: Putin doesn't look very isolated here whatsoever. I honestly am at a loss for words to say about this losing war in Ukraine. All the brilliant neocon and geopolitical advisors pushing Donald Trump to do the exact opposite of what he should be doing are going to drive America into a war we don't need, a war we cannot afford, and a war that could end very badly for the entire world. If the European Union wants this mess, let them have it. Ukraine has already lost over 1.5 million in the past 3 years alone. Ukraine has lost 1.5 million people in this war that didn't have to happen. And there was a peace deal a month after it started that NATO and the United States broke, made sure it didn't happen. Ukraine has already lost 1.5 million people in the past 3 years alone. More killing, more dying, more spending, more hard-headed arrogance on the part of European leaders will not win the day. Team America needs to find a way out of this mess, and very soon. We the people are with you. Make the right decision. So he's pointing to that. Doesn't look very isolated. And here's how the New York Times described it. It was a scene in eastern China, almost certainly intended for an audience on the other side of the world. The leaders of China, Russia, and India, the three largest powers not aligned with the West, smiling and laughing like good friends as they greeted each other at a summit on Monday. It starts with Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India and President Vladimir Putin of Russia holding hands and walking into a meeting half filled with other world leaders. They head straight for President Xi Jinping of China, shake hands, and form a close circle. A few words are exchanged before translators join in the huddle. Mr. Putin cracks a broad smile, and Mr. Modi lets out a big laugh. At one point, Mr. Modi joins hands with the two leaders. The tableau carried multiple messages, analysts said. The bonhomie between Mr. Xi and Mr. Putin was meant to convey a close bond between them as leaders of an alternative world order challenging the United States. So that's what's happening. Mr. Modi sought to show that India has other important friends, including China. Regardless of an unresolved border dispute, if the Trump administration chooses to continue alienating New Delhi with tariffs, optics is the key part of this summit, and the White House should grasp that its policies will result in other countries looking for alternatives to meet their interests, said Manjul, head of the Indo-Pacific Studies at the Takshashila Institute in Bangalore, India. Wow, that's a mouthful. So this is like high school, and we're no longer considered the cool kids anymore. That's what's happening. The imagery in the city of Tianjin, where more than 20 leaders from mostly Central Asia and South Asia gathered, showed how the geopolitical disruption caused by Mr. Trump has given China and Russia a platform to rally partners such as Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Belarus, and Pakistan, and Stanistan. That's my uncle. The meeting in Tianjin and of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a Eurasian security grouping of 10 countries led by China and Russia, showed this effort playing out. There they are. There it is. Look at how pretty this city is. It's kind of crazy how pretty it is, isn't it? Imagine if we had cities like that in the United States. Wouldn't that be nice? That's like a perfect picture of unity with an almost futuristic scape behind them. That's like, it looks like the future. But the best part is at the very pinnacle of the setting is a huge carnival Ferris wheel going around and around. That's what I like. In a joint communique, the group strongly condemned what is called the military aggression launched by Israel and the United States against Iran in June, but said nothing about Russia's war on Ukraine. Iran is also a member state. I wonder why they didn't say anything about Russia's war on Ukraine, because first of all, it started as Ukraine's war on the Donbass. That's why. And it also started when they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Who did that? United States. It also started with the United States overthrowing the democratically elected government of Ukraine in 2014. That's when the war started, in 2014. And, of course, the New York Times isn't going to tell you that because the New York Times is a pro-war propaganda rag. But I'll tell you that. That's why you come and watch the show. China wants to see, and I'll tell you that in my stand-up comedy act, when you come see me in Chicago, Appleton, Wisconsin, Louisville, Kentucky, Fort Wayne, you go to Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco, go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. China wants to seize on the unpopularity of America's trade policy to drive a wedge between Washington and the rest of the world, arguing that it can serve as a more stable global leader. I would agree with that, probably. Mr. Xi, in his opening speech, took not too subtle jabs at the United States, urging members of the group to oppose a Cold War mentality, block confrontation, and bullying. He said the organization must forge ahead amid global upheaval. Mr. Putin delivered a speech that repeated his claims about the West being at fault for his country's war in Ukraine. You know why? Because that's true. It is the West's fault. It's the United States' fault in particular. We did that. We caused that war. He also praised a recent summit he had with President Trump in Alaska to discuss the conflict and said that he had already briefed Mr. Z about those talks in detail, comments seeming to signal China's central role in Russia's diplomatic calculus. Mr. Modi, for his part, spoke of promoting multilateralism and an inclusive world order. In other words, a system in which countries like India had a greater say in global affairs. The three-way hand-holding between Mr. Modi, Putin, and Z was nothing short of the smiling manifestation of a troika that Moscow had recently said it hoped to revive. Look up, what is troika? What is a troika? In the past, India's risk-averse bureaucracy would have taken pains to avoid such overt displays of warmth with China and Russia at sensitive junctures, the secret to expanding ties with Washington while keeping a seat at forums led by other major powers. See, they used to be afraid. India used to be afraid. They're not anymore because Trump is going to tariff the hell out of them. Mr. Trump's barrage of tariffs on India, now at 50% after penalizing India for buying Russian oil, has left little incentive for India to worry about the United States. They don't care anymore. What's a troika?
A group of 3 powerful politicians or states as a troika.
Oh, okay. The summit, which ends Monday, I guess that was yesterday, is the first part of a diplomatic showcase that Mr. Z has lined up this week. In the lead up to this meeting, he has held talks with many of the visiting leaders, including Mr. Modi, during which he said that the two countries should see each other as partners and not as rivals. He's also expected to hold talks with Mr. Putin. But the biggest highlight is a military parade in Beijing on Wednesday aimed at commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, to be attended by Mr. Putin and Kim Jong-un, the North Korean dictator. Oh, yeah? You want to see some of that? That's got to be an awkward feeling, being North Korea and being invited to celebrate the end of World War II. Realizing you're just next up on the roster. But here it is. You want to see it? You can play the music, I guess. Say what you want. Those Chinese know how to march in unison. That kind of marching looks like it would hurt your knees. Doesn't it look like it would hurt your knees? Mr. Z has tried to recast China's role in the war to burnish the Communist Party's image and buttress its claims over Taiwan and the South China Sea, scholars have said. Xi Jinping clearly wants to challenge the post-World War II global order dominated by the United States and show that China is a reliable and legitimate alternative. There it is, just in. President Trump says he's very disappointed in Russian President Putin. Oh, really? Well, everyone else is disappointed in that you're letting this happen. That's what I would say. So here's what Trump says. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. Well, if you were there, they wouldn't be doing that. If you were actually, instead of sanctioning India for buying oil from Russia, instead of sanctioning Russia, instead of threatening war with China over Taiwan, instead of doing all these stupid things, you could be a good neighbor. You could be the deal maker you always claimed to be. Why don't you do that? Nobody voted for more war. Nobody voted for you to put sanctions on India or Russia or China. Anyway, there it is. Our grip is slipping. The United States grip on world power is slipping, and that's the perfect example of it. And we don't know what else to do because we're not really run by our... Donald Trump doesn't really run the foreign policy. That's the problem. He has bosses. Obviously, he has bosses. Benjamin Netanyahu being one of them. And the military-industrial complex and the donor class. Those are his bosses. And that's why I should have had that loaded in, all the military bases around the world by the United States. And, that's why we're spending... Dave Smith makes a perfect point about this. The reason why your kids can't afford a house is because we have to pay for the Iraq war. We have to pay for the Libya war. We have to pay for the Afghanistan war. We have to pay for the Ukraine war and the Syrian war. And why is that? Well, because they didn't tax you to pay for those things. They just printed the money. And when they print the money, it devalues the money. So now the dollar that was worth whatever it was worth in 2001, and now we printed all those trillions of dollars to pay for those wars, devalues the dollar. So now everything is more expensive. Not because they're actually worth more, but because your dollar's worth less. So now it costs $500,000 to $1 million to buy a home that should be worth $150,000, which is why your kids can't afford a house. And people don't put that together. I saw Dave Smith talk about that on Joe Rogan, and it was a great point. I had never thought about it until he put it that way. But of course, we talk about money printing all the time and how the dollar isn't worth what it was 25 years ago. It's worth a pittance, a fraction of what it was. And that's why housing prices are through the roof, because they keep printing money. Houses that was worth $1 million 5 years ago are now worth $3 million. I saw it already on Zillow the other day. I was looking at houses. Houses that sold for $1 million in 2019 are now listed at $3 million. That's not because those houses got more value. That's because the dollar depreciated in value. And that's because they had to print that money to pay for those wars. Okay, over to Steph.
All right. Did you see this headline today, Jimmy, that Pfizer CEO says Trump should receive Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed? What is that about? I saw people chatting about that. All right, here we go, folks. Please stop being so gullible. They're ditching vaccines because they've created vaxes to be grown in plants and added to our food supply. No kidding. Homesick. They are using the Moderna vaccines in our pets without our knowledge, and they're having the same adverse effects on them. But let parents are not aware of this change. I don't think you meant let. All right. But pet parents are not aware of this change. You're good, Misha. Misha, camera 4. Misha, while I was on the road, somebody took me aside and said, I really liked Misha's bun the other day.
Ooh.
What? Did you say bun? Oh. I thought you were British.
And then I just want to say, I think was it Joey and Tim that were out front of the Calgary casino that said hi to us. You were like our welcoming crew when we got there. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Okay, what do I have here? Whatever Michelle Obama says, I believe it, Jimmy. Jeff.
Me too.
You're on it. Have you checked out her popular podcast? It's fantastic. Is that her 4th podcast that she has? Never stop exposing the fraudsters and their allies. Old world griff. That's what Mom said. She said, as long as everybody else gets vaxxed, she didn't get me vaxxed. Wow, please take this one. Because it is all nonsense, Jimmy. COVID was a test to see how many sheeple they could control. 17 Patriots for Truth.
Okay, ready?
Back to Mr. Jim.
What is this?
When you come...
Oh, I got the wrong thing. Hang on. I got it.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it. I got it.
So Trump is attacking Venezuela. And why? For the oil. There's no other reason. Donald Trump is attacking Venezuela for the oil. Hang on. Over to Steph for a second.
All right. I was just going to do my hair, but here we go. P.W. Walker, Europe doesn't have sovereignty. It's a U.S. vassal and CIA operation. P.W. Walker. President Trump wins Nobel Peace Prize for bringing China, Russia, and India together and helps BRICS. When people say it wasn't his intention, Trump will say, yes, it was. I was playing 7D chess. I wish, Sparky, I could do a really good Trump impersonation. Shingles. This is interesting. According to Mediocre Witch, hold on, Mediocre. Shingles rising since chickenpox vax. Exposure to kids, grandkids with pox as an adult who had it worked as a booster, and now that's gone. This is why other countries don't have a vax for chickenpox. Oh. President Trump may win the Nobel Peace Prize in genocide. Oh, Sparky. New York Times is also a pro-genocide paper. Goo81. Yes, they are. Hey, Jimmy and team. Hey. Hey, we are not flies. When are you coming back to Portland, Oregon? We miss you and can't wait to see you again. We desperately need your presence.
I don't know. I can't remember the last time we were there, but we'll be back.
I remember when we were there. And Jimmy, really quickly, Nick Fuentes said he was coming on the show. When's it happening? Kind regards from Australia.
So we had it set up that Nick Fuentes would come on today. You can come to me. That he would come on today, but he got sick. He legit got sick. And so he's going to come on next Wednesday. So right now it's tentatively scheduled for next Wednesday. Next Wednesday's show is going to be early. It's going to be a 1 p.m. show. Pacific, and I guess that's 4 p.m. Eastern time. So next Wednesday, Nick Fuentes, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time on this show. And he, as Nick, I'm going to interview him, but as the kids say today, we're gonna have a collaboration.
A collab.
A collab. That's how the kids talk today. I still call it interview.
Jimmy, are you also thinking about another show this week? On Saturday? Are you thinking
we'll probably do another. We'll do a show Saturday, a live Jimmy Dore show. Probably Saturday. We'll see. I'm getting a medical procedure Thursday and Friday. And what is that medical procedure, Jimmy? I don't know, but I bet I have thicker hair. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. See this right here? Like I bet you won't be able to see my scalp right here. That's fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Why do I even care about this? That's the thing. I shouldn't care anymore. In fact, I had second thoughts about not doing it, but they make you pay up front. So I had already paid up front.
Because people have second thoughts about things like this.
And if I hadn't paid up front, I probably wouldn't get it done. Because what am I doing? Who cares? I guess I care because I have to look at my